Before we grow, we must know. That's the first step to being an excellent coach.
We recognize their strength, their weaknesses, their emotions, their behaviors.
Self-awareness is the starting point. You get to know what your weaknesses and your strengths are. Crossed in our professional and transactional life.
Become fully aware of their strengths, their weaknesses, their mindset patterns, and their hidden barriers. Because awareness without confidence can lead to paralysis. Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome all of you to the Thought Leader Coach Consultant podcast. I'm Anika Datta, the Director Coach at Sanjeev Datta Personality School for the last 8 years, with a very strong educational background in applied psychology and organizational behavior. Today, we're talking about a few things. First, we will be talking about the 4A principle of our SD, which is Mr. Sanjeev Datta's Spark coaching model, which is the backbone of the way that we coach, grow, and transform ourselves as well as others. Now, the second thing that we will be talking about is a very important growth-based topic, which is how to accelerate your career. So first, I'd like to start by talking about the 4A coaching principle. We have our panelists over here. And one by one, I will be calling upon you to get your experiences and your thoughts on the topic. The 4A coaching principle states that there are 4 things and 4 stages to coaching. The first one of them being an awareness assessment. The second is assurance and assertiveness development. The third is actionable accountability. And the last one being achievement acceleration and appreciation. Now, these ones, they move a person step by step from self-awareness to accelerated achievement to ensure their holistic and sustainable growth. And that's why we have created this 4A awareness principle. Now, let's start by talking to Ms. Chavi. Why don't you start by telling us, Ms. Chavi, about the first one, which is an awareness assessment? What is it and what is the importance of it?
Well, I feel awareness assessment is basically it's an important principle that emphasizes, cultivating self-awareness. And I am from the domain wherein I deal with children. So we start with emphasizing cultivating awareness in children. How do we do that? We recognize their strength, their weaknesses, their emotions, their behaviors. And to understand them better, we need all these things, all these parameters. So this self-awareness is crucial for personal growth and also for effective communication. That's how I feel.
Wonderfully said. And what it means is that first you have to help the individual become fully aware of their strengths, their weaknesses, their mindset patterns, and their hidden barriers. That's the first step to being an excellent coach, which is to conduct a needs assessment. And you can do that through personality assessments. You can do that through a strengths and gap identification. You can do that with honest reflection exercises as well. And of course, feedback loops that exist in your environment. So all of these things are very, very important because before we grow, we must know. Awareness is the first step to change, right? Let's go to Anis perhaps and go on to the second stage, which is assurance and assertiveness development. Now, once we've conducted a needs assessment, it's very important that then we develop assurance and assertiveness in our coachee. Anis, what do you think that is and how, and what is the importance of it?
Well, you rightly mentioned that self-awareness is the starting point. You get to know what your weaknesses and your strengths are. What is your unique selling point? Now, once you have identified that, that's when you start building your strategy. And a strategy could be something as basic as upskilling or upgrading yourself. And in the process, you are trying to assert what your domain control is. And while I do say it's very basic, but then we often get so much engrossed in our professional and transactional life that the need to enhance our skill often gets clouded. And nowadays, most of the companies are supporting upgrading their human resources to relevant certification. So I would say that being able to upgrade and assess where you are and where you want to be and creating a strategy around it could be a good point in determining how assertive you are going to the next level.
Definitely. It's all about taking your coachee step by step, right? Sometimes awareness can create a lot of, can leave people feeling overwhelmed because awareness without confidence can lead to paralysis. So that's why you need to develop that assurance and that assertiveness to then fuel action in that person. So here we build our coachee's inner confidence, which is obviously it means assurance. And then you teach them to act and speak assertively, right? Mr. Sanjeev Tata always says that for a leader, for a CEO of life, it's very important to think with surety, speak with surety, and demonstrate with surety. So that's the assertiveness that you want to develop in your coachee, to teach them to speak and act assertively, not aggressively, but with clarity and confidence. So how can you do that? You can do that through confidence building exercises, through assertive communication training, which all of our director coach leaders are undergoing as well, mindset coaching, eliminating their self-doubts and limiting beliefs. So these are a few things that we can do. Now, that was step number 2. Let's move on to step number 3, which is actionable accountability. Now, we keep talking about coaching and how a coach helps you develop accountability. This is that part, in my opinion. Mr. Alok, what do you think the actionable accountability step is about, and what is its importance?
So the thing is, without action, theory is theory will come only if you are actionable on that one. And yoga, I'm a yoga enthusiastic. So whenever we do yoga, we know everything about yoga and our traditional system of medicines or anything. We know everything, but if you are not doing, if you are not following those things, then that is meaningless. So action, whatsoever action we are taking, that only will helpful for our improvement. So first thing is we need to take action. Even everything is told by coach and everything accessed, all the things accessed and as certification done, as my colleague told, Anish told that many companies are putting effort to give the certification to their employees, but again, getting certification and not knowing about those things is not, will not help to anyone. So firstly, we need to put the things in action, then only the things will help us. So actionability and actions will help the improvement.
Well said. So what that means to me, and I think what I'm also gathering from what Mr. Alok is saying, is that, see, you've created awareness, you've developed that assertiveness and you've developed that assertiveness and confidence, and now it's time to take action. When that individual is ready to take action, it needs to be tracked, measured, and improved. It's all about documenting the progress of that person. And that's where you as a coach come in. Because if you're just doing action, then how are you measuring where you're going? How are you measuring where you're at right now? And how are you measuring where to go next? That's why tracking, measuring, and improving constantly is your primary job as a coach. You need to create clear action plans, accountability systems to make sure, because it's so easy to slip back into old habits, right? Unless you're accountable for those actions, unless you're accountable for those habits, you will slip back into them. It's very easy to go back to your comfort zone, to your old habits. So how can you do that? As a coach, you can set goals with deadlines, right? You can have weekly action reviews with your coachee. You can track their progress using templates. You can also build responsibility partnerships, a buddy system, like we call it. So these are a few ways that you can create actionable accountability for your coachees, because clarity and consistency can lead to a breakthrough, right? Progress without accountability is just wishful thinking. So that is all about step number 3. And now we move to step number 4, which is achievement acceleration and appreciation. Two very, very important parts. Can I have Yuvraj perhaps give us his thoughts on step number 4, or the 4th principle of Spark coaching?
Yes, thank you, Anika.
Yeah.
So achievement acceleration as well as appreciation is very critical part, because once the coach starts taking action, once he's become accountable, when he's actually reporting to his coach that I have done this and that thing, it is his responsibility to give what is his wins, what is his failures. Because once he started routing down, right, what are the action he's taking on the basis if he's writing down his failures or what wins, and he is able to share to the coach will be further sharp. He gives a further more clear actions, because a lot of times what happens when we generally take action, we don't give feedback. And very much the coach says, let's say, for example, in my case, I share every week, I share with my coach my wins, whatever I've done for last week. So if I see last 1 year's wins, there are almost 200 wins I have done. So it's a small steps, you have to share the wins, you have to appreciate, my coach appreciates, yes, you are doing, and I also get a confidence. So the 4th step is very critical and important. We have to measure and we have to give feedback. It could be about failures or it could be wins, but most of the times you feel small wins could make a bigger difference, and it gives more confidence and it makes you more enthusiastic that you're on a right track.
Absolutely correct, because appreciation fuels sustainable excellence, right? And once the individual has started to take accountable actions, that's when you know, okay, the results are flowing now. And to help them grow faster, you need to create that environment of positive reinforcement, celebrating wins, help them create their own self-worth. That is your job as a coach as well. Because often this is a very human tendency that we're very quick to criticize, but the last to appreciate, right? And that is success that is celebrated is success that multiplies. And that's what you need to remember as a coach. So how do you do that? You can do that through performance optimization coaching. You can do a mindset reset for bigger goals. I'm talking about achievement acceleration here. And of course, when you want to appreciate, celebrate even small victories. That's very, very important. Little progress also needs to be celebrated to ensure that whatever they're learning is sustainable. The learning is sustainable. Okay. So in short, what have we learned? The 4 A's of coaching. We've learned about them. If I were to summarize them, it's about number 1, awareness, know. Number 2, believe. Number 3, act. And number 4, achieve. That to me in my head is the simplified version of the 4A Spark coaching principle. Know, believe, act, achieve. Okay. With that, I think we can conclude this segment and move to our growth topic for the day, which I'm very excited about because all of you have such an immense experience that you bring to the table, and I'm excited to see what experiential learnings you get. The growth topic for today is how to accelerate your career. To accelerate your career, in my opinion, you first need to shift from a passive learner, a passive receiver of your environment, and become a doer, an action taker, active experience, because the fastest way to grow is by doing. Now, Shivani, my apologies, she had a very, very nice take on this topic. Shivani, if you can enlighten us, please.
Thank you, Anika. Thank you so much for taking me in. So here, yeah, you rightly just elaborated everything. But here, what I'm adding on here is that awareness. Exactly, we have to be, aware about ourselves, loopholes, plus points, negative points. Plus point, we have to for sure and enhance those plus points. Negative points, we have to just make it up just fill those gaps where we are having, be it in communication skills, be it your and educational skills. We have to fill on those gaps. Assertive development, like one of my fellow panelists has have given a good view on this. But what is here is that we have to express our needs, our views, but in a respectful manner, in which the opposite person should not get hurt. Yeah, so that is something assertiveness. We have to be firm on our ideas. We have to deliver our speech, whatever our ideas are, but in a respectful manner. And accountability here, I would like to add on two points in the accountability. And that is, see, if we are coming in front to add on something, give our valuable time in some task, then for sure as a human being we're gonna do some mistakes as well. So how smartly we are accepting those mistakes, and carry forwarding those, that also comes in the accountability. Yeah, so achievement, again, we have to make a roadmap. We have to keep a track record that what achievements we have done so far, so that when the time comes, you can showcase those achievements. So this is my take on these 4 A's.
Okay, lovely. Anis, let me go back to you and talk about how to accelerate your career, right? So, what is your view on the topic? And, let's take it from our viewers as well. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when we sit down to chalk our career path, we would realize that it's not one size fit all. So every individual is unique, and what works for me may not work for the other. So tapping onto your uniqueness is very critical. And even before that, the very first step in accelerating your career could be setting out some clear goals. I mean, you need to have a plan and then track how well you are doing against your plan. Now, if you don't have one, then you're just doing your work as part of your daily chore or mundane work, and just going through the motions. Uh, and also equally important is having a sub goal within those bigger goals, and things that you can change and tweak, keeping in mind the ever changing world with the advent of AI. And I think we have talked about it, which is a self awareness. Uh, Everyone is talented in their own way. We have our weaknesses, we have our strengths. We often dwell too much on our negatives at the cost of the strength. Instead, if I identify my unique selling point and focus on strengthening it, then with that, I start going to define or design my strategy on how I'm going to use my talent and move forward.
100%. And I think a very important point that Anis brought up is always working on yourself, right? Mastering self-renewal. Currently, and as so many of you might have experienced in the course of your careers as well, right now is a time of very rapid change, industry disrupting change with the advent of AI and constantly changing rules. You have to ensure that you're always self-renewing, learning, unlearning, relearning very, very quickly. And that all of you are doing. You are investing in upskilling yourself, in ensuring that your skills evolve faster than ever. Because if you cling to old ways, then very soon you're not going to be somebody that's relevant in the industry. So in order to make yourself indispensable, in order to make yourself constantly relevant, it's so important to constantly upgrade yourself. It's not an option, it's a point of survival at this point, right? Okay, let me take it back to Mr. Alok. What is your opinion on this topic? How can you accelerate your career?
So, in my point of view, I need to firstly learn where I'm lacking and what need to be done for my career path. The thing is, most of the time we are lacking in our comfort zone, breaking of our comfort zone. We are thinking that wherever we are there, that is the best place for us, and for that we need to break the comfort zone and need to getting in out of that. Firstly, we need to think about the industry, the industry in which we are in. So firstly, we need to get the associated certification and associated knowledge of that industry. And by taking the ownership of the work out of our boxes, like if I'm in development or if I'm in uh, marketing, so I should know little bit about development in such a way that if any customer is coming to us, so we can give a small setup or a small demo how the things will work. So in that way, and again by networking with different groups, like if I'm in development or if I'm in other stream, we can network with different groups, and by knowing of our customer even, because customer is only the thing who is consuming the product which you are producing. So firstly, we need to know our customer and what the need of the customer. By knowing that, we can get our strength and our weaknesses where we are lacking, and by which we can improve ourselves. And to sustain in the market, we know better the customer. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Alok. And to just build upon what you're saying, see, a lot of careers stagnate because people don't know what to improve, as Mr. Alok very correctly pointed out, or they resist hearing it. So you have to be someone that is very open to feedback, get feedback fast and often, and then act on it, right? You know, all the top athletes have coaches. We've discussed this aplenty. This is where a coach can help you to give you consistent feedback and then have you act upon it, to figure out what your hidden barriers are, what your blind spots are, and then help you get over them and overcome them. Because these small, immediate corrections can often make a world of a difference. And also, Mr. Alok spoke about networking. And that brings up another important point in how to accelerate your career, because you need to surround yourself with people that are ahead of you. If you are the smartest person or the most experienced person in the room, you're in the wrong room, my friend, right? Because you need to create an ecosystem for yourself where you can constantly grow. And when you're always surrounded by people that are beneath you in terms of intelligence or experience, then what are you learning? How is that network helping you propel you to the next level? So that's another very important point that Mr. Alok brought up. Let me go to Chavi. Chavi, apart from what we've discussed, what is your take on career acceleration?
This world is all about technology. Today's world is all about AI, and we're talking about accelerating our business, our career. So what I personally feel here, Anika, that building a personal brand that speaks before you do is paramount. That really helps, adds on to a lot, especially the field, the domain I come from, public speaking and parenting. Now, why? So I still remember my coach, Mr. Sanjeev Dasta, in one of the sessions, he'd mentioned first impressions happens before you speak. So, and in today's time, in this digital world, people Google you before meeting you. So whether it's a school, a parent, a partner, or maybe a media house, they'll form opinions based on what they see online. So it's really important to have your presence online as well as offline. So you need to create a very strong personal brand that ensures about your credibility. That's number one. Your profession, what is your niche? And then it aligns with your mission, even before you walk into a room. So I really feel that working on personal branding is paramount. You become instantly recognizable with your name, your photo, your message. Maybe you talk about your website, your social media pages. It really adds on a lot. That's my personal take.
I think that you couldn't have made a better point. You couldn't have worded it better. I think owning your personal brand intentionally is so important, because if you're waiting to be discovered, you're making a mistake. You need to design your identity, right? And that, again, as Chavi said, it's your online presence as well as offline presence. So that you need to work on. You need to design your identity. You need to know what you want to be known for. Because if you're vague, then opportunities will not find you. Very well said, Chavi. Thank you so much. Okay, let me take it to Mr. Yuvraj.
Yes.
What are your insights on this?
Okay. So the discussion is going on very well, and I agree with all the points. But here I want to bring some different thing which I am actually practicing since last
Yes.
2 years. Number one is awareness where I want to go. And second, what I observed is ownership has to come. Let's say for example, I'm working for a company, but I don't think I'm working for a company. That company is mine. And probably that's drive me to a different level of commitment, different level of dedication, and different level of planning altogether. I am working for an organization is like, it's my organization. And because of that, automatically my goals align. For example, let's say if I am a businessman, what I'll see into my subordinates, I'll see like he need to be more committed. Plus, he want to be a loyal. Plus, he want to be a extra contributor. Similar qualities I am pursuing in my organization, and this has helped me to go from a lower level to a higher level. So this ownership, once it comes, you can easily make out, if 10 people are standing, if out of that, you can easily make up that who is the actual owner of that project. Sometimes I've seen, people see this is ye mera kaam hai, baki mera kaam nahi. But I have never done that. I have seen end-to-end solution, A to Z. I am not seeing that I'm knowing I'll do only B part or C part or D part. I'm seeing A to Z. This has actually helped me to accelerate my career. So this is one practical experience I would say will help people to see, like, you need to take ownership of whatever you see, and it is easily demonstrated, and people will make out that this is a person who is owning up. That will make a different difference. Thank you.
Excellent. Act like an owner, think like an owner. That'll give you a sense of ownership and accountability that only these, as Yuvraj said, you can tell when somebody thinks like an owner. And I think when you make the business your own, when you make the company your own, then the actions that you take, they really make a difference. Very well said, Yuvraj. Now, let's go back to Anis. Anis, do you have something more to add?
I was on mute. Sorry about that.
It's
Well,
okay.
Chavi rightly pointed out about creating your brand, which is probably an extension of showcasing your talent. Now, with the work from home environment, your physical presence is mostly not required. So your interaction is limited to those virtual Teams call. Now, whether you're making a presentation or talking about your recent accomplishment, it's all virtual, it's all your voice. So they get to hear more than see you. And as Sanjeev rightly pointed out in one of his classes, that you have to use every interaction as an opportunity to create an impact. And more importantly, come prepared for these interactions. If you think that you can talk about your work just the way you do your work, then you don't realize that doing your work and talking about it are two different things. You need to leave an impression when you talk. And of course, you need to use the interaction as an opportunity to showcase your talent and get noticed. And that would obviously involve the body language, the right voice modulation, clarity of thoughts, and a strong personality. So I completely agree with Chavi on this, and it's probably more of an extension of showcasing your talent.
Definitely. And that's such a wonderful way of building visibility for yourself. Because if you're just, your head down and working day in and day out, waiting for people to recognize you, you're making a mistake. Because doing great work silently is simply not enough. We don't live in those times anymore. So the way that you communicate your contributions, the way that you represent yourself and your personal brand, and as Yuvraj pointed out, sharing wins with your higher ups, connecting with people that can help advocate for you. All of these things will ultimately build visibility. So you're not just building your competence by constantly working on yourself and upskilling yourself, but also building visibility for that competence. And that's so important. Thank you, Anis. And if I just had to, just kind of take it all in, a very important point that I'd like to add, and this is something that I've learned from Mr. Sanjeev Datta, is that the fastest way to grow is by doing. when you take action on things that you learn immediately, even if they're not perfect. Because success, it doesn't reward perfection. Success rewards those people that take action, that reflect, and that adapt very quickly. So that's something that I've learned from Mr. Datta, that your career can only move as fast as the speed of your courage to apply those experiences, to apply your growth, and not just plan it in your head, not just wishful thinking that I've planned it, and when I've planned it perfectly, that's when I will execute it. No, no. It's never about waiting for the right time. It's always about creating that momentum constantly, even if it's not perfect, because you have to be in the sea to ride the wave, right? You can't ride the wave by sitting on the shore and thinking about the sea. You can only do it when you're actually in the sea. So that's something that I'd like to leave all of you with, that, get going when it comes to taking action. Take those projects that are difficult. Take on those clients that are difficult. Take on unexpected tasks instead of just taking on, titles and promotions. It's also about chasing experiences that make you better, that give you that learning, experiential learning, right? And these difficult experiences not only, of course, teach you more, but they also create more visibility for you. So that's what I'd like to leave you with. Any final thoughts from our panelists here? You can raise your hand and let me know. Shivani, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Anika. Actually, here I would like to just add on the smile. Smile do wonders. Believe me, trust me. If you want to build your network, just give a smile. As Mr. Sanjeev Datta has himself rightly said, that smile is a logo. So carry on that smile. And even I have heard somewhere that just give one smile to a stranger once. It will do wonders and help you to build a network. Trust me. Hope I was audible.
Yes, I just had a slight bit of an issue with my internet. Don't worry
Okay.
about it. Okay, that's wonderful, and thank you. Your smile is definitely your logo, as we very rightly said. Mr. Arlo, what would you like to say to close it off and to give us a solid takeaway for our viewers?
So always take ownership, as my colleague told, that whenever you are working, just work as a owner of that company or owner of that project. Then only you can get the ownership and feeling the ownership. So always take the ownership whatsoever you are doing. Just don't do, you have to do. Just take the ownership. That
You
will
have to be the person before becoming the person, right?
exactly.
Before you're given that role, you have to embody that role within yourself. Thank you, Mr. Arlo. Okay, Chavi,
So,
what are your gems?
Anika, just an extension to what I earlier said, talking about moving to AI, moving to technology, creating a strong brand for yourself. Here, I would love to add that create scalable impact. So that says moving beyond one-on-one coaching to scalable formats is the game changer for today, for growing your niche, for growing your career. So maybe I'm working with kids. Yes, when I take it to the next level, when we have these, online sessions wherein we multiply our reach from one teacher who can work just in a small classroom with a limited number of students. Here, geographical boundaries are no more in today's time. So just, create scalable impact, and that will definitely help you to accelerate your business.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And if I could have some closing thoughts from Anis.
Well, the one last thing that I would like to add here is we often talk about checking your self-worth, validating what your worth is. Now, it's not always about financial gains. Financials are important, make no mistake. So when I'm switching companies, the first thing that would come to my mind is, what is the percentage increase in my CTC? But along with that, the question that I need to ask myself is, am I expanding my scope of responsibility? If I'm doing the same thing in my new company that I was doing earlier, then am I really growing even if my remuneration has increased? So I need to always look within and ask if I'm expanding my domain of control. because that's when you get to exhibit your skills, your talent that you've acquired all these while. If you remain in that same domain, it doesn't help. Once you expand your reach, expand your responsibility and control, that's when you get to exhibit your talent, and that takes you to the next level.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And Mr. Yuvraj, what would you like to close this session with?
Yeah. I'll give you one good strategy, what I follow. Let's say, for example, let's say there is an entire, let's say one branch is there. I see I need to be first top 5 people of that branch. It could be I could head something. But if let's say if I am only we are having a, let's say, of a team of, let's say, only 10 people, I'll see that I need to be first 2 of them. This will automatically help me to take action which everybody want to pursue. This will automatically give you that fuel. Yes, I want to go that, and automatically your career will definitely accelerate. Thank you.
Wonderful. You have to set those goals for yourself consistently and hold yourself accountable for them.
Yeah.
The final thoughts that I would like to leave all of you with is, number one, definitely apply before you're completely ready. If you wait until you're perfectly prepared, you will always be a step behind, right? And the second one, hire a coach. That is the best and the fastest way to accelerate your career, because a coach will be able to see what you can't. They will be able to push you to limits you didn't know you had. Growth is never within your comfort zone. Growth is only when you stretch beyond your comfort zone and become somebody that you never thought you could be. That's where growth lies. And career acceleration is never a straight line. You have to be a risk taker. You have to be a thoughtful person that can pivot, adapt, change easily, and constantly be willing to upgrade yourself. All right. And with that, I will end today's session. Thank you so much for your valuable insights. This was so much fun. I always have so much fun doing this. Thank you so very much. And I will take your leave now. Have the best weekend, whatever's left of it. And we'll see you again next week.